Less than greater than I was 26 years old. I had $47 in my bank account, a 2004 Honda Civic with 220,000 miles and a cracked windshield, a job as a night shift stocker at a grocery store in Queens, $14 an hour, no savings, no credit card, no family left after my parents died in a car crash when I was 19. But I had her. Rachel, my girlfriend of 5 years. The woman I planned to marry the second I could afford a ring. We lived in a 400-square-foot studio apartment above a Chinese takeaway. One window that faced a brick wall. No heat in winter, leaky roof in summer. But every night I came home at 6 a.m., covered in sweat and cardboard dust, and she was there, making coffee in my old t-shirt, smiling like I was the richest man in the world. We had a plan. Save $9,400 for a small wedding, get a better apartment, start a family. I worked double shifts, skipped lunches, picked up extra hours on holidays. She said she was proud of me. Less than greater than one Tuesday morning in October. I woke up to an empty apartment. No Rachel, no clothes in the closet, no toothbrush in the bathroom, no shoes by the door, just a single envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside, my bank card cut in half, my car keys gone, my phone factory reset, and a handwritten letter in her perfect cursive. Ethan, I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I met someone who can give me the life I deserve. David has a real job, a real apartment, a real future. You're sweet, but you're going nowhere. Don't try to find me. I took the $9,400 we saved for the wedding. It's a start for my new life. Goodbye, Rachel. Less than greater than I sat on the floor for 3 days. Didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't cry. On the 4th day, the landlord knocked. Rent was due. I had $47 in cash from tips. He gave me 24 hours to leave. I packed my life into one backpack, walked out with $47 in my pocket, and disappeared. For 10 long years. While Rachel was posting engagement photos in the Maldives, while she was buying a $3.2 million house in Westchester, while she was having 2 perfect children and building the perfect influencer mom brand. I was sleeping in 24-hour laundromats, eating from dumpsters, learning to code on a stolen library laptop with no name, no address, no hope. And every single night for 10 years, I whispered the same sentence to myself before I closed my eyes. One day, I will own their entire world, and they will beg me for mercy. Less than greater than. This is the exact moment a broke, homeless, 26-year-old man decided to disappear. For 10 long years. To build an empire in absolute silence. And return as the billionaire who would buy their lives 1,000 times over. You are not ready for what I did on the exact 10th anniversary of the day she left me with $47. Less than greater than year 0. The first winter. I slept in the 24-hour laundromat on 145th Street in Harlem. The dryers gave off heat. I curled up between two industrial machines, using my backpack as a pillow, $47 in my sock. At 4:57 a.m. every morning, the manager kicked me out. I walked 38 blocks to the public library that opened at 8. Sat in the same chair, same table, same broken computer number 17, until they closed at 10 p.m. I showered at Planet Fitness with a $10 per month membership I paid for by collecting cans. 25 cans equals 1 shower. I ate 1 meal a day. 2 chili dogs from 7-Eleven for $2.22 after tax. I saved the remaining $44.78 for 6 months until I could buy a $59 burner laptop from a pawn shop. Less than greater than year 1. I gave myself a new name, Daniel Reed. No ID, no social, just cash and silence. I got a job washing dishes at a Greek diner in Queens. $9 cash per hour, 12-hour shifts, no days off. I saved every dollar in a coffee can buried under a tree in Van Cortlandt Park. Year 2. I was promoted to line cook. $12 an hour. Started taking free coding classes at the public library on my 1 day off. I built my first app in the laundromat at 3 a.m., a simple restaurant inventory tracker. Sold it on a dark web forum for $38,000 in Bitcoin. Cashed out through 42 different exchanges. No one could trace it. I disappeared again, less than greater than year 3. I rented a 6x8 storage unit in the Bronx for $89 a month. No heat, no bathroom, just a cot, a hot plate, and silence. I lived there for 14 months, coded 20 hours a day, built a supply chain AI for trucking companies, sold it to a logistics fund in Singapore for $4.2 million, all Bitcoin, all offshore. Year 4. I bought my first property, a burned-out duplex in Detroit for $11,000 cash, fixed it with my own hands, rented to a veteran family for $800 a month. Used the rent to buy the house next door. By the end of year 5, I owned 127 houses across 6 dying cities. All cash. All untraceable. Year 6. I started a private equity firm in the Caymans, Eclipse Capital. I bought failing manufacturing plants, turned them around, sold them for 9- and 10-figure profits. Year 7. I entered DeFi and privacy coins early. $100 million became $1.2 billion in 18 months. Cold storage, hardware wallets hidden in 7 different countries. Year 8 to 11. I became a ghost billionaire. No photos, no interviews, no name on Forbes. I paid to stay off the list. I bought private jets through nested trusts, islands through anonymous foundations, politicians through perfectly legal donations. I built an intelligence network of ex-CIA, ex-Mossad, ex-Spetsnaz. They watched Rachel and David for 5 straight years, every purchase, every vacation, every lie, and what they found was gold. They had become perfect. $3.2 million house in Westchester, 2 kids in private school, David's startup just raised $42 million. Rachel's mom influencer account, 2.1 million followers. Hashtag Boss Mom. They wrote a book together. From Broke to Blessed, Our Love Story. It sold 400,000 copies. They were on morning shows, on podcasts, on magazine covers. They told the world how they built everything from nothing after Michael abandoned them. They never mentioned that the nothing was me sleeping in a storage unit while they used my name, my credit, my life. Less than greater than year 12, my net worth. $1.41 billion, all hidden, already. I booked a private jet under a name they would never recognize. I flew into Teterboro Airport at 3:14 a.m. on the exact 12th anniversary of the day she left me with $47. I rented a black Maybach. Drove myself. I pulled up to their $3.2 million house at 6:03 a.m. The sprinklers were on. The Range Rovers were in the driveway. I walked up the front steps in a $65,000 Keaton suit and rang the doorbell. Rachel opened the door in $800 pajamas, holding a coffee in hand. She didn't recognize me at first. Then her cup fell and shattered on the marble floor I had just bought the night before. "Good morning, Rachel. I believe this is still my house." Less than greater than October 12th, 2034. Exactly 12 years to the day, she left me with $47. 9 a.m. A black Maybach S680 pulled up the long gravel driveway of 12 Ocean Crest Lane, Hamptons, New York. $3.2 million mansion, white marble facade, infinity pool overlooking the Atlantic. 6 bedrooms, private beach access, registered owner on paper, Rachel and David Hudson. My old name on the deed, stolen. I stepped out in a $120,000 charcoal vicuña coat from Keaton. No tie, no watch. Just a single black leather folder in my hand and 4 security operatives in plain clothes behind me. The front door was open, music playing, laughter from the backyard. I walked straight through the foyer I once dreamed of owning. The house smelled of fresh flowers and money. I walked out to the terrace, 80 guests, catered brunch, live string quartet, children running around the pool. Rachel was in the center, in an $8,000 white linen dress, holding a mimosa, laughing at something David said. David, in custom linen shirt and Rolex, arm around her waist. Their 2 children playing cornhole with friends. They saw me at the same time. Rachel's glass slipped from her hand, shattered on the Italian tile. David's smile froze. The quartet stopped playing mid-note. I didn't speak for a full minute, just stood there. Let them look. Then I spoke. "Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, David. Beautiful house. I should know. I just bought it." Less than greater than Rachel's voice came out as a whisper. "Michael." I smiled. the same smile I practiced for 12 years. That's Mr. Carter to you now. Or sir, if you prefer. I opened the black leather folder. Page 1. Quitclaim deed transferring ownership of 12 Ocean Crest Lane to Eclipse Holdings Limited. Signed yesterday. Recorded at 8:47 a.m. today. Page 2. Mortgage paid in full by wire transfer at 8:52 a.m. from an account in my name. Page 3. Eviction notice. You have 24 hours to vacate. Less than greater than Rachel fell to her knees in her $8,000 dress. David tried to step forward. My security blocked him. I continued. Page 4. Your company, Hudson Luxury Developments, 68% controlling interest acquired over 41 months. Board meeting in 1 hour. You're both fired. Page 5. Your children's trust funds, $12.8 million, transferred to my foundation this morning. Page 6. Your social media accounts, all registered under my stolen identity. Meta just terminated them for fraud. Page 7. Your reputation. Every guest here just received a digital dossier with 12 years of messages, photos, and bank records proving exactly how you built this life on a lie. Page 8. And finally, the wedding venue you booked for your 15-year vow renewal next month? I bought it last year. It's now a shelter for homeless veterans. Less than greater than 38 pages. 38 minutes. 38 separate deaths of everything they had built. When I finished, Rachel was on the ground, sobbing into the marble. David was being held back by security, face red, screaming my name. The guests were leaving in silence. I closed the folder. 12 years ago, you left me with $47 and no name. Today, I took back 12 years, with interest. You have until tomorrow morning to be gone. After that, everything you own becomes property of the Carter Foundation for Homeless Veterans. Enjoy the rest of your lives. I walked out. The quartet started playing again. My orders. As I left, Rachel screamed after me, "Michael, please, the kids! We have nowhere to go!" I stopped at the door, turned back. 12 years ago, I had nowhere to go. You made sure of that. Now it's your turn. I walked to the Maybach. Doors closed. Car pulled away. That was just the first 38 minutes. Less than greater than. They didn't accept defeat. They declared war. And for exactly 90 days, I showed them what war looks like when one side has unlimited money and 12 years of pure hatred. Day 1. They hired the most expensive law firm in Manhattan. $2,800 an hour, filed emergency injunctions in 7 jurisdictions, claimed fraud, coercion, mental incapacity. I let them spend $4.8 million in the first week. Day 4. Rachel went full victim on social media. 48-minute tearful Instagram live. My billionaire ex-husband came back from the dead and stole our family home. Justice. For Rachel went viral. 4.1 million views in 24 hours. Celebrities reposted. GoFundMe launched. I waited exactly 36 hours, then released a 4-minute counter video. Zero narration. Just documents. Text messages between Rachel and David from the week after she left me. Bank transfers of my deployment pay into their joint account. Photos of them on vacation in the Maldives while I was in a combat zone. The forged power of attorney she used to sell my house. The video hit 187 million views in 48 hours. Number sign, Justice for Rachel, became Rachel Carter fraud. Day 9. They tried to freeze my assets through international courts. My lawyers in Liechtenstein, Singapore, and the Caymans filed counterclaims simultaneously. Every judge received a sealed envelope with evidence of David's $11 million offshore tax fraud. All cases dismissed in 48 hours. Day 12. David attempted a public apology tour. Michael, brother, we were wrong. Let's talk man to man. I bought every network that booked him, every slot replaced with a paid ad for the Morrison Veterans Foundation, featuring their faces with the caption, "Some heroes fight overseas, some fight fraud at home." Day 18. They tried to disappear. Private jet to Uruguay, non-extradition. I owned the FBO that serviced their jet. Plane grounded for safety inspection. Indefinitely. Day 25. Rachel announced a GoFundMe. Help a military family keep their home. Raised $1.4 million in 24 hours. I matched every dollar, then donated the full $2.8 million to the Fisher House Foundation, with a public note, "From one military family to families who actually deserve it. GoFundMe shut down for fraud." Day 34. Their children were expelled from private school. Every institution in the tri-state area received the same letter. Children of individuals involved in active military fraud cases are ineligible. Day 44. Rachel tried the pregnancy card. Announced on live television she was pregnant again. Begged for mercy for the baby. I released medical records, legally obtained. Vasectomy. David had in 2031. Procedure paid for with my stolen insurance. Day 58. Their cars were repossessed at 3 a.m., towed in front of the cameras they once loved. Day 71. Their parents disowned them publicly. Press conference. Tears. We stand with our son-in-law, Sergeant Michael Morrison. Day 83. Their business partners abandoned them. Every contract I owned, quietly, had a morality clause. Day 90. The final strike. Exactly 90 days after I walked into their house at 9 a.m., a single black Suburban pulled up to the extended stay motel they were hiding in. My lawyer stepped out, handed them one manila envelope. Inside. Final judgment. $1.41 billion in damages. Exact net worth I had built while they stole my life. Wage garnishment for life. Permanent lien on all future earnings. 2 one-way Greyhound tickets to a town with 614 residents and no cell service. One check for $47, the exact amount I had the day she left. And one handwritten letter. 12 years ago, you left me with $47 and no name. Today I leave you with $47 and no future. We are even. Never appear in my world again. Michael Carter, the man you thought would stay broken. Less than greater than they took the bus. They live in that town now. No internet, no credit, no hope. Every year on September 12th, a plain envelope arrives at the only post office in town. Inside, nothing, just a single blank sheet of paper. They know who it's from. They burn it unopened. That's real karma. Silent, permanent, complete. 12 years have passed since the 90-day war ended. Rachel and David no longer exist in any world that still matters. They live in a small town in central Nebraska. Population, 614. One stop sign. No traffic lights. Cell service drops 2 miles outside city limits. David works the graveyard shift at a meatpacking plant. $17.20 an hour. He stands in -20-degree freezers for 10 hours, cutting beef carcasses with a bandsaw. His fingers are permanently scarred from frostbite. He hasn't had a sick day in 8 years. Rachel is a cashier at the only grocery store in town, $14.80 an hour. She wears a blue vest with a name tag that just says R. Customers sometimes recognize her from the old viral video. They pretend they don't. They rent a 720-square-foot single-wide trailer. Rent, $620 a month. The toilet only flushes if you hold the handle exactly 7 seconds. They keep a bucket of water next to it. Their electricity gets shut off every other month. They pay the bill in cash at the gas station. Their 2 children dropped out of high school. The oldest works the same freezer as David. The youngest ran away at 16. Hasn't been heard from in 4 years. Every September 12th, the exact day I came home, a plain white envelope arrives at the trailer park office. No return address. Inside, one photograph of Lily at her latest birthday party, private yacht, 60 friends, live orchestra. One photograph of me and my family standing in front of the house that used to be theirs. One printed line. Some homes are for heroes. Some are for memories. Yours was never either. They stopped opening the envelope 6 years ago. The park manager just throws them in the burn barrel now. Their names trigger content warnings on every search engine. Wikipedia page, Carter Military Home Sales Scandal, 2023 to 2035. Locked. No edits allowed. When people Google Rachel and David Carter, the top result is still the 4-minute video I released. 312 million views and counting. Rachel's mother died last year. Refused to see her on her deathbed. David's father won't answer the door when they visit. They are ghosts. Living warnings. And every year on September 12th, somewhere in America, a teenager reads that Wikipedia page for a school project on fraud and learns exactly what happens when you betray a soldier and think they'll stay broken. That's where they are now, and that's where they will stay. Forever. Karma doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just closes the door and never opens it again. Today, I am 44 years old. Net worth, $2.41 billion and still growing. I own 87 companies on 4 continents. The largest privately funded veteran housing network in America, over 6,000 homes, all rent-free. 2 private islands. One is a full rehabilitation center for combat PTSD. And the Morrison Foundation that has quietly paid for college, medical care, and new homes for more than 18,000 military families who were once betrayed. But none of those numbers matter when I walk through the front door at 6:30 p.m. and hear the voice that healed me. "Daddy's home!" Lily, now 21 years old, West Point graduate, captain of the women's rugby team, full-ride scholarship to Harvard Law next fall, still runs down the hallway and hugs me like she did when she was 4. She knows everything. We told her when she was 14. She cried for 2 days. Then she looked at me and said, "You're my dad. Always were. Always will be." She still calls me Dad. Always will. The woman who made this life possible is named Captain Dr. Isabella Reyes, former Army flight surgeon, 3 tours, Distinguished Flying Cross, the strongest soul I've ever known. We met 8 years ago at a veteran charity gala I hosted anonymously. I was in a tux, no name tag. She was in dress blues, no jewelry, eyes that had held dying soldiers together with her bare hands, and still chose to believe in love. She walked straight up to me and said, "You're the ghost who funded 1,200 prosthetic legs last year and refused credit. I've been looking for you for 3 years." I laughed for the first time since the desert. 6 months later, she moved into the house on Oakwood Drive. We turned Sarah and Mark's perfect kitchen into a study center for military kids. We turned their infinity pool into a hydrotherapy pool for wounded warriors. We married exactly 12 years and 1 day after the day Sarah left me. November 15th. Same month. Different life. We have 3 more children together. Sophia, 9 years old, already speaks 5 languages, future diplomat. Gabriel and Mateo, 7-year-old twins, absolute chaos, my daily reminder that joy can be louder than pain. Every morning I wake up to the sound of their feet running across the same floors where Sarah once planned her betrayal. Every night Isabella falls asleep with her head on my chest, her old dog tags from the war and the original house key to 418 Oakwood Drive hanging together on the same chain around her neck. We turned the entire Oakwood Drive into a living memorial. Every house is now home to a veteran family, rent-free, for life. Street signs renamed Morrison Heroes Way. Every November 14th, we throw the biggest celebration in the state. Food trucks, live music, fireworks that light up the entire county. At exactly 1917, the minute Sarah's text arrived 12 years ago, I stand on the front lawn with my family, raise a glass of 1961 Dom Perignon, and toast to the homes they tried to sell, and to the families who actually deserved them. That's my life now. Not revenge, restoration. I didn't just take back the street they stole. I multiplied it and gave it to thousands of heroes who truly earned it. Every year, on September 12th at exactly 1912, after the fireworks are over and the last child has gone to bed, I do one last thing. I walk alone to the end of our private pier. The same pier where Rachel once took her new beginning photos the week she left me with $47. I sit on the edge, feet in the water, and I open a small ebony box I carved myself the first year I could afford tools. Inside are three things: the original text message she sent the day she left, printed, laminated, never faded. The $47 in cash I had that day, still in the same crumpled bills. One sealed envelope, heavy cream paper, my handwriting, black wax seal with my crest. Every year I write a new letter, by hand, no copies. This is the letter I wrote and mailed last month, word for word. Rachel and David, 12 more years have passed. You are still breathing. I am still creating. You count pennies in a town that forgot your names. My children learn on planes and in classrooms named after them. You hide from cameras. The world asks for my autograph. Your story is a cautionary tale taught in law schools. My story is a commencement speech at Harvard, Stanford, and West Point. This is the final letter you will ever receive from me. There will be no more envelopes, no more photographs, no more reminders. I am removing you from my universe completely, not out of hate, not out of mercy, but because you no longer deserve even the microscopic space you once occupied in the back of my mind. You are footnotes in a book that became a global bestseller without you in it. Live whatever is left of your lives. I have already lived the one I was meant to. The man you left with $47 now gives away more than that every second. Thank you for teaching me what real wealth is by showing me what poverty of soul looks like. Goodbye forever. Michael Carter, the man you thought would stay broken and who instead broke the cycle. I sealed the envelope, walked to the end of the pier, held it over the water. Then, for the first time in 12 years, I didn't mail it. I lit a single match. Watched the flame crawl up the paper until it kissed my fingers. Then I let the ashes fall into the ocean. One by one, until nothing remained. That was the last time their names were ever spoken aloud in my house. So if you stayed until the very last second of this 70-minute story, and someone once told you you'd never be anything, that you weren't strong enough, rich enough, smart enough, worthy enough, look at me. From homeless, nameless, broken, to a billionaire who took back his name, his future, and built a legacy that will outlive us all. You don't need to destroy your enemies. You just need to outgrow them so completely that one day they wake up and realize the biggest mistake they ever made was ever thinking you would stay down. Thank you for staying until the very end.